Mister, I don't know who you are, but I don't think it's right to see a lady like this in the buff.
Well, it's an investigation. Harold, listen to me. As an officer of the law, I'm going to need you to inspect her. It's not your decision.
Well, I'll be damned if it isn't.
Hey, do you hear from him yet?
I don't know what's going on. Harold, what are you doing out here? You're supposed to be in there with Becky.
That man's asking me to do things that ain't right.
What?
He's asking me to take her apron off and look at her. It ain't right, and it ain't policeman.
See?
Shut up.
The Cinematic Shuffle has shuffled once again. Now, if you were watching last week, I gave you 3 hints on what this movie was going to be. I said that 1, it was made in 2012, that 2, it was one of the most tense films I've ever seen in my entire life, and 3, I initially rated it 99%, and as you can see, that film is Compliance. I can tell you that my score has since changed, but you'll have to wait to the end of the review to see what it changed to. But also keep in mind that a lot of what I said in that initial review still remains true to this day. So with that being said, let's talk about Compliance. Compliance is a true story about a girl that works at a fast food restaurant that's called to the back when a police officer calls, making the claim that a customer accused her of stealing from her purse while working. This police officer then requests the manager of the location strip search this girl to find out if she's actually hiding money or not. The thing about it, guys, is that this police officer is just a prank caller. And unfortunately, the strip search is only where the horrors of the entire story begin. It gets crazier and crazier as the story unfolds. Now, before I go on with my review of Compliance, I want to give you guys 3 more hints as to what I will be reviewing next week for the Cinematic Shuffle. The first hint is that it came out in the decade of the 60s. The second hint is that in part it deals with a guy with shady business practices. And the third and final hint is that it was made by a very well-known and revered director. Leave your theories on what that'll be in the comment section down below, and if you're correct, I will pin the comment. Go crazy. Now let's talk about Compliance. Honestly, even though this film is a decade old at this point, came out in 2012, it still floors me. It still rattles my bones because indeed it is a true story. And not only a true story, but they followed the real story to a T. Nothing that you see in this movie is fabricated for fictional purposes. In fact, they actually had to dumb it down because the real true story is so insane that test audiences didn't believe it. Everything that happened in this movie happened in real life. A prank caller truly did call a fast food restaurant. I think in real life it was McDonald's, and this it was Chickwich. And acting as a police officer, he ordered the manager to strip search this girl, for co-workers to do cavity searches, make the girl do questionable and humiliating things, all for the amusement of this prank caller who just so happened to say that they are a cop, and absolutely nobody questioned the authority. Nobody thought to double check and call other people, call the police, because this guy said he was the police, so, you know, why question that, you know? People are so dumb, but at the same time, people are frozen to the spot when they think that they might get in trouble if they don't do what a cop tells them to do. This film is psychological in that aspect, where it shows how willing we are to be compliant at the very prospect that we might get in trouble. It's absolutely insane. And to see this girl's descent from being scared and compliant to just doing whatever this guy wants her to do because she's just so out of it is truly insane. Dreama Walker does a fantastic job. In fact, everybody in this film did a remarkable job in the performance, just killing it with their awkward tension, their awkward silence. I would actually say that Ann Dowd's performance as the manager in this film is the very reason why she got cast in Handmaid's Tale as Aunt Lydia. And the biggest thing about this film is that it works so well because it is a true story. And the more that you look into the true story that it's based off of, the more maddening it is because of what this guy got away with. Not only that, but if you look into it, the guy really did get away with it. He was acquitted at trial. And not only that, he didn't just call this one McDonald. He called 70 different places around the country. And they all reported similar incidents. And this guy got acquitted in real life. It is absolutely insane, and it goes to show why I consider this to be one of the tensest films I had ever seen my entire life, and not a lot of people even know it exists. More recently, I would say that the tensest film that I've ever seen was probably The Killing of Kenneth Chamberlain, but I think that's only because of recency bias. When I watched this again, I was like, I don't know, they're toe in toe. They are on par with each other. So if you're a fan of The Killing of Kenneth Chamberlain for how absolutely tense it is and how hard it is to watch Compliance, because it's pretty much the same idea. If I had to say any negatives whatsoever, it would truly be in the narrative, in which you're not entirely sure where this is gonna go. The strip search itself happens relatively early in the film, and things get crazier and crazier and crazier as the film progresses, yes, but there's no indication of when it'll ever stop, because nobody's actually trying to do anything to stop the phone call. They're just letting it go on and on and on until the eventual end of the movie. To me, that shows that there's, I don't know, obviously that's how true stories work, but from a movie and narrative standard, you have to ask yourself, is this film just gonna keep going and going and going and going like the Energizer Bunny? Because that's how it feels like. So the eventual climax of the film, I don't think is as strong as it could have been, but it is pretty good for what it is. I still think that overall the film is nearly flawless. It's 10 years old, but still feels fresh. The performances are crazy good. There's a really good original score. There's some really good cinematography moments. The editing is on point, especially for increasing that tension as you watch. So it won't be a perfect score, but it will be pretty close at A+ letter grade final overall score of 97%. 97 out of 100 possible stars. And you can see my bias score is still 100%. So I still consider this a perfect experience when you watch a movie, but it's just certain technical things here and there. Probably could have been better, but I don't know how. You know, it's just, this is how I score movies. And 97% is 2% lower than my original score of 99%. I do think that I scored it higher than The Killing of Kenneth Chamberlain though. Hold on a second. Yep, The Killing of Kenneth Chamberlain, I scored 95%. This, I scored 97, so I consider this to be better. But you know, apples and oranges. Both very, very hard to watch, but both films that I absolutely recommend that you watch at least once. At least once. If you haven't seen it, check it out. But I would like to hear your guys' thoughts on Compliance if you've seen it in the comments section down below. And as for YouTube, you guys know what to do. Hit the like, hit the subscribe button, and hit the bell to be notified when I come out with my next review for the Cinematic Shuffle. And until then, peace out!